It's just taken a minute.
Says it's live on YouTube.
Okay, it just went live. Yeah, I have to wait for it to actually, there's like another step that I see on my side. So we are ready to go with the next meeting.
Yeah, we still officially have 1 minute, right?
Oh, okay.
Wait, is it 6:35 or 6:39? What was, oh, it's six,
Oh,
never mind.
6:40, I think.
Yeah, 6:40 was our start time. Okay,
Did we lose people?
we lost a few.
Oh, because Gustav and, so
Yeah.
wait, well,
I think
we still have a,
we have a quorum, right? Yes, we have a quorum. And we have other people joining. Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the City Selection Committee for the Cities Association of Santa Clara County. Andy, may we have the roll call?
Campbell,
Here.
Cupertino. Did we lose him? He just left for a minute, huh? Okay. Gilroy. And Cupertino is present. I see.
Oh,
Steve.
I'm here. Sorry.
That's
I
okay.
stepped away for 1 second.
Okay, so no, Los Altos,
Here.
Los Altos Hills, Los Gatos,
Here.
Milpitas,
Here.
Montessorino. Did we lose Rowena? Okay, we lost Rowena. Morgan Hill,
Present.
Mountain View,
Here.
Palo Alto,
Here.
San Jose. I think Chappie got stuck elsewhere. Santa Clara,
Here.
Saratoga,
Here.
Sunnyvale.
Here.
Okay, great.
Okay. So
We
let's
have a
move on to the
quorum.
next item. Thank you. Move on to the next item, consideration of approval of the consent agenda consisting of the May 14th minutes. Are there
I
any
move
changes or
consent.
motion?
I move consent of the May 14th meeting minutes.
I'll second, Mary Lynn.
Thank you, Mary Lynn.
Okay, the roll call.
Yes,
Campbell,
Aye.
Cupertino,
Aye.
Gilroy, Los Altos,
Yes.
Los Altos Hills, Los Gatos,
Yes.
Milpitas,
Aye.
Montessorino, Morgan Hill,
Gotta hit the mute. Aye.
Mountain View,
Aye.
Palo Alto,
Aye.
San Jose, absent, Santa Clara,
Yes.
Saratoga,
Yes.
Sunnyvale.
Yes.
Motion passes with 11 ayes and 4 absent.
Thank you. Next up is consideration of appointments to ABAG. And it's there's two different appointments, 2 representatives for term expires June of 2022, and then 2 alternates that also expire in June of 2022. And Andy, I think we received 3 applications.
We
Did we receive
received
any
three
more?
three applications, 2 for the representative seats, Chris Clark and Liz Gibbons, and then 1 application for the alternate, which is Rod Sinks.
Okay. And I will ask her if there are any other applicants from the floor. And actually I'll open it up to anyone who is also an attendee, conceivably.
So Larry, I have a
Oh,
question.
Chris is here too.
Do
Okay.
you have to be a council member to be a representative?
Yes.
Yes, you do.
Okay. So, yeah, I know Rod is termed out. So how is it possible to be an alternative? I mean, I'm fine with him being an alternate, but I don't see how that would work.
Would
Oh,
you
I-
like me to
This is
respond?
Rod, and I can help
Oh.
with this a little bit, if you'd like.
Sure.
So we have this very awkward process with several of our regional agencies. This is one of them, where the terms are 2 years from when we appoint, and it's a little crazy. So once we get off sync, we're sort of in the middle of the year here. Chris Clark is terming out this year. Liz is not, right? Liz, you still have 2 more years.
No,
And
no,
then,
no. I term out.
no, I'm sorry, Liz
number
Gibbons.
two.
Gibbons.
Oh,
Yeah,
Liz.
that other Liz. But so what I sought to do as president, but didn't really succeed at figuring out, was trying to align these things with calendar years. So I think if you, I mean, I'm happy to have somebody else take this role. In my 2 years of doing this, Chris and Liz have been so faithful in their attendance that I've only actually officially attended once. I have monitored the meetings otherwise, and had some interaction with staff and others. But I think it would be desirable to see if we could get these things aligned. So if you put Chris up, you will have a reappointment to do in January. If you put me up, you'll have a reappointment to do in January. I think that makes a lot of sense. So, but you know, if somebody else wants to serve, I'm certainly willing to step down. I just thought, given continuity of the year, seeing it through the year, it might make sense for me to offer to continue to serve. And I do think it would make, I would say, I've watched both Chris and Liz, and they offer different perspectives, but I think they're doing a good job in representing the position of the Cities Association. So I'll also offer that to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Rod.
I'd be willing to be the alternate as well, although, you know, I'm up for reelection. Who knows? You know, I may not be around in January either.
Understood. And that's, you know, and that's always an issue with these appointments. And because it needs to be a seated council member, that is something that we deal with. And that's why we have our selection committee to bring new people on as needed. Liz, you had a comment?
I did. So, yeah, thank you. And I appreciate what Rod just said. In my memo for reappointment, I said something very similar to Rod, which is that it's awkward to do it at this time of year, one. And two, I also think at one point, I always thought, but apparently not the case, we should stagger them. They should be alternating years, so there's continuity from year to year in case there's a transition. So I would recommend that we don't necessarily, that's my understanding from Andy, and she can correct me, that we don't necessarily have to vote. The people that are in now can stay in, and then we would re-agendize it in January when the new councils are there. My point in my memo, and I think we probably need an agenda to discuss this in detail, is what's the future of ABAG? As you all know, it is slowly being nibbled at from inside and out. And I think we need to understand what it is that we want our ABAG reps to do. And MTC is going to become much more powerful. And I think that if we can, to our own best interests as a cities association, figure out when new people are coming in January, who might have the best chance of being on ABAG and then move to MTC into positions of authority and rank there. Because right now, for the last 4 years, it's been the same 4 or 5 people controlling both ABAG and MTC. And we've had no ability, even though we represent, 15 cities and some of the largest population areas outside of San Francisco and Oakland, we have no presence. And I would really like to see us move in a structured, strategic way to get our ABAG and MTC as a continuum to get into places of influence on their legislative committees and their housing committees and all of that. So I would really encourage us to find a way to agendize that as soon as we can.
It's a good
Okay.
idea.
And Andy, you had a comment? You're muted. Oh.
Yes, sorry. So I just wanted to comment on the terms of office because I've talked in depth with ABAG about this. So it is defined in the ABAG bylaws, so we don't really have a choice. They don't, all the cities' appointments are 1 year, and then the next year it's the counties. And they run a mid-year, and I have said to them that doesn't make any sense because people's terms of office run at the end of the year, and they start at the beginning of the year. They have said that we can allow people to, we cannot reappoint and allow the same people to serve until we do reappoint, is the way they have offered to resolve this situation. But so we don't really have a choice about staggering.
Okay. And I saw that Chris Clark also had a comment.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have a panelist invite. I just wanted to plus one to what Liz said. I think as we move into January and future years, as the merger continues to sort of evolve, I would suggest that we take a strategic approach to our MTC and ABAG appointments and sort of strategically align those so that we have folks who are not that the current folks are committed for the long term too, but I think getting on a lot of those new committees and bodies that are going to make a lot of those decisions in the years to come across MTC and ABAG is really important. And with both the MTC and ABAG reps, you have an opportunity, I think, to sort of plant the seeds, and maybe if one doesn't necessarily make it into some of the leadership roles, another one might. And so I think Liz has a really good idea there of being strategic. And then just on the terms, as Andy said, the ABAG bylaws are the annoying thing here, and the way that we've dealt with this in the past is because ABAG has work plans that are a calendar year, and we all serve on basically the elections or the terms of election for us are basically calendar year too. The way that we've just dealt with it is we do these mid-year appointments to cover through the election period, and then typically we appoint another set in November, December, or January, depending on whether it's election year or not. So you have two options. I think as Andy said, ABAG said that you could just not appoint, and the current appointees could continue, just to be understood, that continue. The folks currently appointed would continue to serve, or you can just appoint for now and then just replace those folks with starting in January, however you want to do it. But unfortunately, the bylaws are sort of stuck, so we have to do this workaround if we want to have continuity throughout a given calendar year.
Thank you, Chris. Liz Niss, you have a comment?
So, you
Yeah.
all know I have served a long time, and probably one of the most frustrating parts is dealing with MTC. ABAG used to have some power. It's kind of eviscerated at this point. It's really important to have somebody who can advocate for, lobby with, and political the daylights out of that group. It's hard for small cities to get somebody on MTC. Liz, have you actually served on MTC? No. So it's difficult. I can't think of the last time somebody from Palo Alto was on MTC. I think it was 1994. The small cities don't have a lot of influence. And it means that as a group, if we really can yank this all together, you can actually make a difference. You might get some money. So the most important thing is MTC has the money, and you want the money, and it's really hard to get it. So you might even want to have whomever is going to run this next year. Larry Klein, you might still be around next year. Needs to think of maybe an ad hoc committee, something like that, so that we don't lose sight of what's going on there. especially in this era of all being on Zoom, where I don't think I've seen any of you since March, have I? Not unless I accidentally ran into you. So it's very frustrating, and we'll have to be very strategic in the coming years. So
Absolutely.
that's my stump speech.
Thank you very much. And yes, and I've talked to Cindy Chavez a little bit about this as far as the transition and their continued efforts to try to fix governance. So next up is Jan Pepper.
Hi, sorry I'm entering this conversation a little bit late. So I'm just trying to understand who is asking to be appointed, and I guess.
So currently we have Liz Gibbons and Chris Clark for the main two representatives, and then Rod Sinks and Stephen Sharp have put their names in as the alternates.
For ABAC.
For ABAC.
Yeah.
Chris is termed out, Rod is termed out. So I think that's part of this discussion. So are there are no others who are not, like, once someone.
No other applications that we received, no.
Okay.
And there's no problem with us reappointing in January from that standpoint, that we can fill empty positions as need be, as we've done with other
I
things.
mean, I won't be offended if Rod continues till January. It's fine,
Yeah.
but I am our ABAG representative from Cupertino, so I have been attending meetings and tuning in, so I'm quite familiar with the whole procedure, unfortunately.
Understood.
And in your conversation about MTC, I actually thought one of our council members from Los Altos was on MTC.
There are representatives from each of the cities. I'm the ABAG from Palo Alto. I don't know what it
No.
means, but I don't.
I think you mean Jeannie Bruins, who
Jeannie
is the
Bruins is
MTC
on-
representative, right? So she's also
Yeah.
termed out, and
Right.
the Cities Association will have a key appointment because, as you pointed out, MTC wields a bigger stick in this merger.
Yep.
So in January, Cities Association would appoint for that.
Correct.
So those of us who are terming out will not be able to get
So
involved in that appointment then.
For the MTC, that would be next year. Yes.
So if I may, that was one of the reasons I wrote my notes, is because there's an opportunity, even if there's different people continuing. It would be nice to identify someone coming into the Cities Association or onto a city council that has the potential for a 6 or 8 year run to move through the ABAG and on to the MTC groups and in established credibility and influence. Dave and Cindy have been on there a long time. They very often do not vote the way the Cities Association has intended for our reps. So we need to have that political clout, whoever just said that, someone with strong political presence to work their way into that network and make a difference for our county.
Absolutely. Any other comments before we ask for a motion?
Mariko.
Sorry,
Sorry,
Thank you,
I'm
Marika.
gonna raise my hand as your co-host.
I missed that. Sorry.
No. If you're ready, I'll make a motion with some comments.
Sure.
So I really like the idea that Liz Nis, Councilmember Nis, presented of creating an ad hoc. What I propose is that, one, we nominate and we accept the nominations of Liz Gibbons and Chris Clark as our representatives and Rod Sinks as our alternate, with the understanding that the three of them will help us post-November election identify who may be potential candidates to represent ABAG and MTC come January when we do have to do a transition. I'll second. It's Mary Lynn.
And we also had Stephen Scharf.
No, it's fine. Yeah, it's not a big deal to me. I'm not
Okay.
offended. Thank you.
Thank you. So that we have a motion and a second. Andy, may we have a roll call vote?
Campbell,
Aye.
Cupertino,
Aye.
Gilroy, Los Altos,
Yes.
Los Altos Hills, Los Gatos,
Yes.
Milpitas,
Yes.
Montessorino, Morgan Hill,
Aye.
Mountain View,
I,
Palo Alto,
Yep.
San Jose, Santa Clara,
Yes.
Saratoga,
Aye.
Sunnyvale.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, everyone. And thanks for everyone who applied. And, hopefully.
So Larry, just remember, their job is to bring home the bacon. So when you think about that next year, that's the job. And it's a
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, in January, we'll have some very important decisions to make, Mariko.
so
Okay.
Andy, when you send out the notice, that's key, bringing home the bacon. Requirement.
What
Okay.
about for
Any
the
other public
vegetarians?
comment? Seeing none, I will adjourn this meeting.
All right, and then here we go again.
Here we go again. Thank you, everyone.
Is there a different login for the next meeting?
No,
Nope,
we just
you
stay
can
here.
all stay there for